Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to make a clipboard. I'm going to start with this piece of cardboard that was the insert for some fabric that I bought at Walmart. So I'm going to take that piece of cardboard and transform it. Up to this point, I have taken a piece of cardboard. I just folded over the back just so I didn't waste it, and then it made it a little bit sturdier. I have used Mod Podge to put some paper down. It's from an old prevention magazine that was gifted to me. The paper is very brittle, so it was easy to tear away from the cardboard, but I used the sandpaper to smooth off the edges of the cardboard and to finish off the pages on the sides there. You can use a nail file. I had sandpaper there because I'm working on a shadow box. And just for layering sake, I'm putting the bits and pieces that I pulled off of the edges. I'm just going to lay them down with some Mod Podge. Just again to give it some layers and just add a little depth. It's kind of like putting padding underneath, I don't know, your ironing board cover or some fabric. There's just a difference when you have layers underneath than just one piece of paper on the cardboard. And that little piece I was showing you, that's already aged and beautiful, and so I'm going to save it in case I want to stamp a word on it. So from here forward, after I get the bits and pieces laid down, we're going to start working on the focal point. And I'm just using what I have, which is random things. I have just recently been gifted a box of items, and I'm going to pull those out and use them. But and I had kind of an idea, but not exactly which elements I was going to use. So in between what you'll see different pauses as I'm looking through my stash to see what I want to use. Do I have any bits and pieces? I really wanted to add some layering and not just paper to this project. I appreciate you being here. I hope that you enjoy the video. I was surprised at myself with this one, and I loved making it. I just again dug through my buckets of little odds and ends that I have and found some pieces. That's washi tape that I was gifted. So I'm just going to start putting things together. You'll see in a bit that I have some flowers that I've added, and they're kind of a wooden flower. They're not paper or cardboard. I think they're a very thin wood flower. So follow along with me while I work on this. You can tell it's already going to be a clipboard. The shape of this piece of cardboard could not have been any better for my project, and so I was tickled when I saw that sitting on top of my shelf. I thought it had to be fate because it was perfect. The fabric that I'm using is I think muslin type cloth. It's been washed, so it's a little bit softer. I ripped it so that the edges are frayed. And I again just want to add some more layers. I'm going to build this up several layers, and so I want to have paper and fabric and just different types of elements in here. This is like it was wired, and I cut the two edges off that are wired. It's like a burlap, but you can see how it's made there. Took the wires off because I wanted the frayed edges there to show under the fabric. And then the frame, I believe, is from the Tim Holtz collection. It was gifted to me, so I'm not positive, but it came in a package with other things like it. And so I have auditioned a couple of pictures, just haven't set my mind to exactly what. And I've gone into my chipboard words to look for words that I might want to use as my title, which would help me decide on what I wanted to use for a picture. So until then, I'm going to age my fabric and kind of get an idea for what I want to do. And so I have these what are they, like service tags that I was gifted, and I thought this would be a great idea I want to use the tag, but I also wanted to put a picture in my frame, so this is what I thought of. I love the idea of the tag that I used it for the frame, and then I finally picked out the picture that I wanted to use, the little girl holding a little baby doll. And now my brain is trying to think of what do I have in my totes and my bags that can really elevate this, and I want to do something grand with it. And I found this little tiny ruler, and it's a wooden ruler. I don't even know that it's very old, but I cut it down to size. I'm going to ink it up, and I'm going to just start layering and trying different ideas, starting with adding that ruler underneath my frame. Up to this point, I have sanded the ruler, and I sanded the numbers not all the way off, but quite a bit. The writing on it I didn't really bother with because it's going to be hidden anyway. And now I have out a different color stamp pad because it's the darker walnut stain, and it's a different brown than this one that I normally use, so it kind of made it look a little bit like dirty, like, you know, if it was sitting in an old barn for a long time, it would have been dirty and not just aged. So that's why I'm mixing the two color inks here on the ruler. And I don't know, again, I was so excited to have found that ruler because it turned out to just be perfect, I think. So all right, now I'm gonna stay on here and tell you that this is a clip that I use in the kitchen, and it's plastic, and my favorite Rub and Buff. It saves the day so many times. the bronze clips that I have are too big for this card, and so I was going to use the little Tim Holtz clips, but they were too small. They didn't make a statement. And while I was digging for things, I found this and I thought, oh my gosh, this is the perfect size, but it's black and it's plastic. And I thought, well, it's okay, it's black. But then I remembered my Rub and Buff and transformed this clip, and now it looks like a gold bronze metal clip, and I love it. You're going to see coming up, then I have those flowers, and that was after going through several containers looking for just the right ones, and they're the ones that are a little bit, I think, wooden flowers, and they don't fit exactly as they are. I also tried these little flowers because now the tag is lifted up off of the clipboard part pretty far. The flowers weren't exactly working out, so there wasn't enough room to tuck a flower underneath it because it is glued down on one side. So you'll see coming up that I just cut the flowers in half, and so sometimes you can recreate the elements that you have and think of them in a different way. So I wanted the flower to look like it was tucked underneath, because on the left side, while you're looking at it like this, there is a gap, and I wanted to cover that gap on that side because it's lifted up as high as the ruler. So flower after flower, that didn't work. And again, you'll see coming up here that I take the kind of fall colored flowers on this one side, and I cut them in half. And I glued them and squished them up against the part that's raised so that it looked like it was tucked under there, and I think it worked out so great. What has appeared here in the picture is a little banner that I cut. It is a piece of washi tape that says "With Love," and so I just stuck that onto a little piece of cardboard. I think it was the bottom half of the picture that I cut, and then I just cut a little banner out of it and glued that to the washi tape. Sorry, I'm off camera here. I'm still looking for elements to add to it. I want to raise it. I want to just have a lot of stuff on here. And what I have next to me is I'm tying a bow, but it is the edges of a cloth napkin, and they were kind of made of pretty cotton, maybe a muslin, really thin, beautiful fabric. And so I embroidery on those, and so for this one I cut the edges off, and that is what I've made this bow out of, and it turned out adorable. And of course we're going to ink it up and age it a little bit. Also coming up, while I was looking for, I think, glue or something, I found a tiny little pearl heart, and I'm going to add that to the little banner that says "With Love." So you'll see that coming up. in the items that I was gifted, there were these tiny little envelopes that this person had made, and I was determined that I was going to make this look like an old letter, and I was going to include it somewhere. So I moved it around and decided that now with my ruler there, my clip isn't really holding anything, so I'm going to have it hold this envelope, but also here I'm thinking it needs a piece of paper under it. And so, I mean, it didn't have to, but there was kind of a place in there. I was thinking at this moment it needed to hold a piece of paper. So I tore off a little piece of paper that had the spiral edges when you tear something, and I glued that under there so it looked like a piece of paper, but it really was just one little piece that I had cut off and put under there. And then I'm going to stick the envelope on top of that. So I thought it was a great idea. It wouldn't hold a whole piece of paper, but just having those little spiral jagged edges on there looked like a torn piece of paper had been tucked up under there. And here you can see the paper that I used is just the music paper. I aged it with some ink, and again I just folded it up so that it gave the impression that there was a piece of paper under there. While I'm off looking for something to fill in, just at the top there I have a little gap. I just want to say thank you for joining me. I hope that you have been inspired and that maybe we tried something that you hadn't tried before, because I definitely had a good time trying things that I had not necessarily tried before. Having the ruler, taking the kitchen clip and painting it gold. And then I put, I have a little jar of old blue jean buttons, the metal ones. And so that's what's filling in the hole on the clip. And then that's also what's at the top of the tag there. So it's just different elements I haven't used, and I've had them sitting in my room. So I was very excited to get to pull out some of those. Once I laid the ruler down, I just loved it. So thank you all again for joining me, and I appreciate you being here. And just a few more minutes and you'll see the finished product that I am so thrilled with, and that I hope you enjoyed watching as well. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.